Hello and happy week 15, everyone. Also, a happy Teacher Appreciation Week to those of you that are educators. This is our last official week of content. We just have a few odds and ends to wrap up next week, and then it will be finals week after that. So, hopefully, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We've definitely covered a lot of assessments, a lot of content so far this semester, and you worked really hard, so don't throw in the towel yet. We are almost there. All right, a few announcements, actually, just one major announcement, and that is to please make sure that you complete your student opinion questionnaire. The results are anonymous and confidential, and the department and university take these very seriously, and we really want to get input for everyone. So please make sure you do that. You can access these online via the student portal by clicking on the link for the course. You can also expect to receive multiple emails reminding you to do so if you haven't already, and there will be a pop-up on your portal when you log in to remind you. Week 16, there will be a participation activity, and that's just going to be a Zoomerang survey that I'm going to use more for my personal use. The problem with the SOQs is that I don't get the comments and feedback right away, so it makes it difficult to plan for the next semester, whereas my Zoomerang survey, I get the results immediately, and I really look at those to plan the next semester and would really appreciate your feedback on the assignments and different things. So there is two surveys to complete, one for the university and then one is just for me. So please make sure you do both of those. All right, I graded the case studies recently, and overall, those that were submitted were pretty well done. And so thumbs up to you for that. I just had some general feedback to give you to help you as you prepare to submit the final one on May 22nd. First of all, make sure that you are providing a very concise summary, and I'll show you a sample on the next slide. You don't need to go into all of the detail of, for the first question, they answered this. The second question, they answered that. No, no, no. The idea for this assignment is that it's just a very concise document that really gives you the big picture of the student's needs. So that, if you were to give this document to, say, an educator, a teacher, a reading specialist, they can quickly scan through it and get a sense for the student and their strengths and needs and know right away where to go with instruction. So this isn't a detailed reflection like you are submitting weekly. This is a summary that synthesizes all of the information, and upon reading it, someone should walk away and know, okay, comprehension is the biggest area of need. That's where I need to focus instruction ASAP. Or phonics. We have a lot of gaps in phonics. It's really preventing them from reading words in isolation or words in context. They're making a lot of visual miscues. Phonics is my area. So, concise summary, big picture. Make sure that you write from an authoritative stance. So don't use the pronoun I. I think blah, blah, blah. I think it's a good idea to da da da. No, just say it is recommended that da 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 da. And really take that authoritative stance. No pronoun I. Next, make sure to detail the follow-up assessments needed. So that is definitely part of this assignment, is that I recognize, you recognize, we all recognize that 5 sessions is not enough to do an in-depth assessment, especially when I was the one sort of dictating the assessments that you needed to give. So you do need to at least come up with 2 to 3 follow-up assessments that are needed given your limited results on the assessments given. And then lastly, the purpose of this course is not to design specific activities and interventions. That's 581. But what you do need to do with this course is discuss the specific skills that need intervention. For example, further instruction intervention is needed on long A spellings, AI, A blank E, whatever it is there. So make sure you're discussing the skill that needs intervention, but you don't need to research all of these different activities and games and things to play with your student. So here is a great sample taken from one of your peers. This was the affective domain strengths. James has a supportive and nurturing literacy environment at home. Challenges. He has a negative attitude and self-concept towards reading. So there is no detail of, for question 1, he selected the most positive response, none of that, just the bottom line. This is the strength, this is the challenge. And when there is an area where they're at or above grade level, should be no challenge noted, and that's fine to indicate that. So this is a great example of a concise summary that someone can quickly read and really get a sense of the big picture. They even put in here the stage of word recognition development, which is awesome. All right, week 15 readings, there are 3. First of all, chapter 8 from Lipson and Wixon goes over how to evaluate vocabulary. That's going to be very helpful for you as you plan assessments for your last session with your students. So please see pages 323 to 327. Also, there is an article on titanium, theory and research into practice, vocabulary assessment. And lastly, you need to read about the core vocabulary screening, so you are well prepared to give that this week. That is on page 120 of your core assessment book. Again, this week there is no participation activity. You are welcome. However, hopefully those case studies you have been completing have been helpful, because you will see similar things on the final. Assignments that are due this week, there are 2. Your final artifact assessment artifact and reflection is due, as well as video number 6. Those are due May 15th at midnight. There is no participation activity. There is the note about late assignments. All right, session 5B. There are 4 assessments required, but 1 you already gave. So first, the core vocabulary screening. Second, get out that writing sample from last week, go through and make a note of the vocabulary used by the student and see what kinds of productive vocabulary they have in there. Also, 2 additional assessments of your choice. So think about all those domains featured on the case study report and think of if anything is missing that you may need to fill in with. You can give something very informal, a running record. You could do something structured. You could do an observation or a checklist. It's all up to you. And make sure you recognize the effort of the student and do something nice, a nice gesture as a send-off for your final session with them. All right, the core vocabulary screening is the required assessment. It is very straightforward if you read it. It is, quote, a pure measure of vocabulary, say the authors, because there's no whole text to comprehend. It's just single words, and there's no context clues to assist you. Basically, students read the word in the box, then they underline which of the 3 answer choices has a similar meaning. There's a prompt on page 120 that you should be following. You should allow 10 to 20 minutes for the assessment. If it's starting to take longer, you may want to take a break and come back to it. You can test the student at their grade level. It's meant to test students at their grade level to see which words they can, that they have knowledge of when they are reading text at their grade level. But if you know that the student is reading significantly below grade level, you may want to give them something closer to their independent level, since we don't want to frustrate them with this. All right, the final exam is coming up. The study guide is actually posted on Titanium now. You can use that. The exam will cover all content from weeks 1 through 15. Make sure you know important terms, concepts, and assessments. It will be timed, 90 minutes. Questions will be multiple choice, short answer, true, false, and essay. I'm almost done with it, and once I know how many questions there are for each type, I'll let you know how many questions to expect overall and how many essays, that sort of thing, so you can plan your time accordingly. The deadline is Friday, May 24th at midnight, and it will be available starting May 18th, pending no technological difficulties, which I can't promise you there won't be any of those, but I'm going to try very hard to problem solve, troubleshoot so that everything is ready to go May 18th. So this slide may look familiar way back from week 1, where we talked about the goals of this course, and I really reflected on these goals and made sure that the assessment aligns to what the goals are for the course. So through this course and through the assessment, you should be showing your ability to select and administer appropriate literacy assessment tools and techniques for each of those domains of literacy. So I might give you a scenario and you have to select which assessment to give, or I might give you an assessment that was given and you have to determine if it was given appropriately or what the person should have done differently. Next is the knowledge of the types and uses of assessments across the continuum of literacy skill components, so formal, curriculum embedded, informal, da da da. So you definitely should know the difference between informal, curriculum embedded, norm reference, all of those terms, because you may have to identify a good assessment to use for screening, diagnosis, placement, progress monitoring, etc. Next, ability to critically analyze and interpret the results. So like the case studies, I'll give you a sample assessment and you'll have to analyze and interpret that. And then lastly, use the assessment results to make informed instructional recommendations. So again, you're not telling me what the intervention is you would do, that's 581. Instead, you're telling me that this is the skill the student is missing. All right, so that's the final. The case study report, again, check out your feedback and use that so that you can hopefully get a 20 out of 20 for the second one. Start working on it. Consider what domains require more information so you can give appropriate assessments this week. And the case study report is due Wednesday, May 22nd by midnight. That is when I need all remaining assignments from week 15 and week 16, because I need to get grades in and leave enough time to grade a bunch of finals as well. All right, are we there yet? We are getting so much closer. This week you have the final reflection due and the final video to do. I'm sure that will feel amazing to get those submitted and to be done with those. Next week you will have the case study report. There should be no surprises there. You have feedback to use to inform your second one. Again, there will be a participation activity, which is going to be a quick Zoomerang survey that can help me start planning for next semester. And then it's the final, which needs to be done by midnight on the 24th. And once I have the final completely finished, I will email out and let you know how many multiple choice to expect, how many short answer, how many essays. I'm thinking that there will be probably 2 case studies, no more than 2 case studies, and then 1 additional essay type question. So there's going to be a lot. Definitely go through all of the assessments, all of the terms, all of the content. There is a lot. Hopefully you did learn something. And yeah. All right, well, I'm going to stop here and then talk briefly about vocabulary, as that is our main focus for the week. Again, if you need anything, please email me. I always have office hours Monday, 7 to 8:30, but we'll get back to your email as soon as I can, so you don't need to wait till Monday to get back to me. So have a great week, and here is vocabulary lectures.